Facebook Marketplace is known for having some wild things on there, but what stuff can we find that brings us some nostalgia? Let's find out. So I'm actually really excited to see what is available around me. For reference, I'm based in New York City, and I feel like you don't really find as much stuff here as you do like in the suburbs, especially in the category we're looking at today. And things do tend to be a little bit more expensive around here, but hopefully that doesn't affect our finds. So let's see what comes up here. All right, so this is the stuff that's just automatically suggested to me. We've got a new Nintendo 3DS. We've got a 2DS, which I've never actually owned a 2DS, so that could be interesting. Here's a Switch OLED, though that seems a little precarious for $78. Wait, look at this. The freaking Kellogg's Pokémon cereal from back in the day. That is sick. Okay, it's not in the best shape in the world, but I would be super into that if we can get our hands on that. Okay, definitely on the radar. I'll be saving some of these as we go. Let's just go in real quick though and type in nostalgia. We saw this on the homepage earlier, a custom handmade Nickelodeon blimp. That is pretty sick. Pikachu sneakers. Are they in my size? No. So that will be a pass. Video store scented candle. What? I feel like I should remember that smell, but I don't. So maybe that's something on our radar. A Furby, $100. I don't really like to spend $100 on a Furby. Game Boy Color for $300. Okay, it's got Pokemon Yellow and Gold. Okay, I get it. I get it. Why are we seeing so many popcorn makers, snow cone makers, another popcorn maker? What is this? Ice Crusher? Why is that all on here? Another popcorn maker? That is funny. Maybe we'll go with just Pokemon, because we've seen a lot of Pokemon stuff out there. Lots of Pokemon cards. Oh, this is kind of cool. The Pokemon Mew edition. I remember when people were trying to grab that up. Game Boy Color Special Edition Gold version. That is pretty sick. Okay, let's try to do 90s toys. Okay, not as much coming up here. It looks like a lot of lots for sale, which I don't know if I'd be super into. Let's see. I don't know. Is a Paw Patrol down there along with just like a bunch of other cars and tractors? Some Fantastic Four X-Men toys. That's pretty cool. $70 for the McNugget Buddies Halloween collection. It's not local to me, so it'd have to be shipped, but that is pretty cool. I don't have that collection. There we are again with that Pokemon cereal box just taunting me. We'll have to get that. I'm just gonna put in 2000s toys. Still just like a bunch of lots, I guess. Oh, we could go for some first edition Pokemon card packs right here for $300. I will gladly pass on that, but again, good to know that it's there. Oh, here's like a vintage McDonald's glass. That's pretty cool. The early style of the Hamburglar, which is kind of creepy looking. Well, I will do some more research this coming week, and we will now cut to, you know, let's say a week later when I actually have a lot of all this Facebook stuff, and yeah, let's see what we got.
1 week later.
So I have now traveled all over the city and boroughs this week and honestly ended up with a pretty good haul. But before we get into it, if you want to see more videos like this, let me know by liking this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on the nostalgia. Now let's do this. So firstly, I got a couple Game Boy games, both from two different sellers. The first one being the Powerpuff Girls Battle Hymn for the Game Boy Color, and the other one being Shrek Fairy Tale Freakdown, also for the Game Boy Color. And I paid $10 for each of them. And this first game is actually the final game in a series of Powerpuff Girls games, with each game focusing on a different villain and you play as a different Powerpuff Girl. So in this one, you play as Bubbles trying to save the residents of Townsville who are frozen by him. And then in the other games, you play as the other Powerpuff Girls. And this game is fine. I found the controls took a little bit to get used to, and then it was kind of hard to stop yourself at times to fight a villain. I really couldn't even get too far without using up all of my lives. And then the other game I got, Shrek Fairy Tale Freakdown, is a fighting game, kind of in the style of like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, but using the Shrek characters, which is kind of funny. And this game is just bad. The on-screen animations are just so janky and even a little laggy. You also couldn't jump and move forward at the same time, which is just a god-awful mechanic. And I kept dying trying to battle the gingerbread man who kept throwing, I don't know, gumdrops or something. Like, I guess it's cool that I have these games now, but I don't think I'll be doing a playthrough of these anytime soon. Though definitely leave a comment if you had either of these. And these next items I got for free, which I honestly can't believe because they could have gone for a pretty penny. And it's a Furby and a mini Furby. And really the reason they were free is because creepy. But no, the owner was just parting ways with them, didn't know if they worked, and just wanted them to go to a good home. Which of course we have some other Furby friends this one will get along with just fine. And it does work. I feel like I really made out well with this one. Like, used Furbies like this one can go anywhere from $30 to $60, so I'm pretty happy with this find. And that's just the thing about Facebook Marketplace, is that you can find some good stuff and some good deals, but you really just gotta be monitoring it and you gotta be quick to respond. And this Furby also, for whatever reason, has like a higher pitched voice. I'm not really sure why, like the others I have sound pretty much the same. But I'm definitely glad to now add a third Furby into my collection. And then this mini Furby is one of the McDonald's toys from 1999, and this one's supposed to be a little noisemaker, though unfortunately it doesn't work. And I also have a bunch of these already, but don't have this one in particular, so another welcome addition. And this next one I think is one of the more peculiar finds of this haul, a 50th anniversary Mr. Potato Head. And I ended up with this one for $25. In case you didn't know, the original Mr. Potato Head was actually just the appendages and accessories to put on a real potato. BYOP, I guess. Though obviously they updated that to be plastic, and back then the potato was just the head rather than the body-head combo that we are familiar with today. So this 50th anniversary set kind of pays homage to that original design. Now, you aren't given a real potato here, instead opting for that original plastic design that they made, which I find kind of funny because they paint like a potato-like texture onto it, really making it look like a real potato. But before we build him, I just wanted to show off this little booklet that comes attached to the box, going over more of the history of Mr. Potato Head, like having his own show and being included in Toy Story, highlighting some of the other lines, including some of the other Tutti Frutti friends, which were essentially Mr. Potato Head, but with different vegetables. But now, let's build him. We've got the potato, of course, his body, eyes, nose, and mouth, ears, top hat, glasses, and even a stand to put him on. Though, of course, in classic Mr. Potato Head fashion, you can put these anywhere you want. I feel like I could have imagined seeing today's Mr. Potato Head out there for sale, which I probably would have been happy with too, but I never thought that we would end up with something like this. Alright, next up is another fun one. I mean, I tried to find some unique stuff, and if you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know I love trying to find weird devices to play Tetris on. Probably the weirdest one being the chicken nugget version that came out a few years ago. But one that came out last year that I was actually eyeing was this 7-Eleven Slurpee Tetris handheld. And well, here it is. I picked this up brand new in box for $25, and I just find this thing to be hilarious. Like, it is just so unnecessarily chunky for a device that solely plays Tetris. But to be honest, not terrible to hold and play. What is terrible though is this screen. Probably the worst screen on a Tetris handheld that I have. And that chicken nugget one isn't even colored or backlit. Though this does have a funny feature of having the Slurpee at the top light up, which is cool, I guess. But just another funny addition to the collection of, again, weird Tetris gaming devices. And up next, we got our hands on an iPod. This is the iPod Nano 5th generation. Picked it up for $30. And the reason I wanted to get this one, well, firstly, I don't actually have this one, but also this is the iPod Nano that had the camera on it, and is the only generation iPod Nano to actually do that. And the quality has got that gritty early 2000s look. Like, I definitely want to do some vlogging or even a whole video with this guy. And while this does work, I bought it untested from the seller and only only later found out that once I got it booted up, that it will only work if attached to power, unfortunately. Like, the battery lasts for less than a minute before putting out on me, which I knew was going to be a risk because the batteries on this iPod in particular are known to not hold up over time. So that kind of sucks. But I did take it with me to grab clips of the final item in our haul. Yep, I got that Pokémon cereal box. And this is probably the wildest find of this whole haul. It's just so random. This Pokémon cereal debuted in 2000, kind of like Lucky Charms, but with your Pokémon as the marshmallows, with Pikachu, Ditto, Oddish, and Poliwhirl. It's got the iconic holographic foil logo. On the back, having a little Pokémon search, which you had to find 5 Leddyba and Hoot Hoots. And obviously you can see the owner before me took the liberty of highlighting those. Now, I paid $15 for this. The box is in okay shape, not pristine, but it does look good. And the owner even told me that this was his box that he kept since he was a kid, which it is just wild to me that it's still around all these years later. And it's just, you know, it's really just hard to put a price on this. But I'm thinking of putting this one in some acrylic case and keeping it out on display. But here is our overall Facebook Marketplace haul. I paid a total of $115 for everything, and personally I feel like I made out really well. But let me know in the comments if you ever had any of these, or what Facebook Marketplace gems you've picked up in the past. And as always, thanks for watching.